basically that's part of the property. I mean, I get what they want, but I also understand what the rule is.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, the rule. Well, I'll explain it when we're there because we're a quorum now. But
that's why you have rules.
Yeah. And the rule's in there. It's a state. It's a state code.
Yeah, so I mean,
yeah.
Does she know that?
Oh, yeah.
They're asking for the variance. They're asking to vary that.
Oh, please.
So we can just let them speak.
Yeah.
Let them argue their case. Because it's really what the board decides.
Does Millie's have a mobile
Yes.
food, or is that a catering?
They have actually 3. They have 2 trucks. Oh, wait, no. Sorry, they have 2. They have 1 truck and 1 trailer.
Okay.
They keep one of the trucks actually at Cisco Brewers.
No, a few years ago there was 3 or 4 of those trucks.
At Nantucket,
And then they keep
They went around to all the job
Exactly.
sites.
they keep the trailer out at Nantucket, and when they need to use the truck, they'll move the truck as well.
Francisco, are there any years ago? I was just telling him years ago there was 3 or 4 trucks that went to all the building job.
Oh yeah.
Are there any of them now?
The roamers, no,
None.
not like they used to exist. You're not allowed to be a roamer and a full service truck anymore. You're only limited service from now on.
Yeah, they used to operate out of Foods.
Yeah.
I know Foods ran one. I've seen it at the hospital and at other places.
Yeah, like a
But
canteen
they don't
truck.
have those
Yeah, it was a
anymore?
canteen.
It was like a
They go to all
canteen
the
truck.
big
No,
construction jobs.
that's
Coffee
Board of
break.
Selectmen.
The roof-
Yeah, they put a cap on that because with us, they can technically have a canteen truck as long as they pay attention. But Board of Selectmen just didn't want canteen trucks anymore. So there's still one on the island somewhere that we haven't been able to catch. But we've been hearing phone
through the
calls here and
grapevine.
there. Yeah,
I haven't seen it, and I'm out there all the time.
Yeah, there's one floating around somewhere. So we're wondering
I
what it is.
remember when I shared the office with Ann McAndrews, and she'd get calls on those. So I thought they were still around.
Well,
I remember there was one lady who kept wanting to go to Jetty's Beach. I think.
yeah, there's always somebody who wants to go to Jetties or Children's, and they just can't because the mobile licenses won't let them to be within 500 feet of a permanent location. Yeah, those old canteen trucks don't exist. They're really not around anymore.
All right. It is, it's on? It is 4 o'clock, and we have a quorum present. 2 members are absent, but we do have a quorum of 3. So the Board of Health meeting for April 21st is now in session. I just need to announce for all parties interested that these proceedings are recorded and videotaped. Now, public comments. Do we have any public comments on any issues that are not on the agenda? We will move on since there appears to be none. Review of the minutes of March 24th. I would like to put those off 1 week because I did not get a chance to read them.
Okay.
And we wouldn't have a quorum to approve them with 2.
That's true. That's true.
So if there are no objections, we will review the meeting minutes of the 24th at the next meeting. 46 Duke Roads variance. Duke Roads is back.
Yes. Well, this was a variance that was applied for the day before or the day of the last meeting. So it was put on this agenda in case they still wanted to discuss anything from last meeting, but I haven't heard anything. So I would just.
And I don't see anyone present.
Yeah, so I don't think there's any action.
They had their 2-year extension. And
Exactly. So there's
maybe we'll hear from them in 2 years.
sounds good.
Those of us that are still here.
Okay.
Lobster Trap Mobile Food Location variance.
Yes. So actually, I would just yield my
Yes,
time.
please identify yourself.
Good afternoon. Attorney Michael Wilson. I'm here for the Lobster Trap, and I have the 2 principals, Messrs. Weldon, who are here as well. And what you have before you, I have a cover letter which lays out the request before the board, and this is an application for a variance to 105 Code of Mass Regulations 590.009, specifically sub B, sub 12. And that aspect of the CMR mandates that mobile food service units daily return to the certified kitchen, if you will, that supplies the food truck. I think the regulation certainly is warranted and has a lot of merit in the context of hot dog carts and these trucks that would drive around and sell pre-prepared packaged food. What doesn't apply here is that, and there's some underlying reasons for that, is cleaning the vehicle, servicing the vehicle, and adequately staffing or putting the foodstuffs in and out of the vehicle that you're going to need to service the public. However, what we have here with this truck in the application is it's in fact a trailer. It has last season was the first season that the applicant has used this food service trailer for the provision of foodstuffs at and only at Cisco Brewery. This is not a mobile truck that goes to different beaches or has different routes, if you will. It's stationary. It's been the Weldons have been providing this service to the community at the brewery for 2 years, but last year they upgraded to this significantly more improved truck. And the capacity of the gray water holding is 30 gallons. The amenities and the ability to clean this mobile food trailer, if you will, significantly improved over the older truck that they had used 2 years ago. But what's important to note is that there's never been an incident or a complaint with respect to the quality or the cleanliness or the service of this truck at the brewery. With respect to the requirement that it travel daily back to the, as subsection B12 requires, travel back to the facility, the applicant here, as the food code requests or requires in support of a variance, says, well, you have to establish that the underlying reasons for the part of the code that you're looking for a variance mandating, you got to show us that you're actually doing something to address that concern. So the concern with respect to loading the truck or the trailer, if you will, with the food and the things that they're going to be selling or cooking and selling, that's done, and you have in your packet, I believe, a photo of their F-350 supply truck. It's a refrigerated unit, and all of the food that is prepared, and if it didn't make it in your packet.
No, I don't have it.
No, it didn't make it.
Yeah, we don't have it.
I would love to see it. My question would first be about the size and the nature of the truck. So.
It's an F-350 with a full reefer unit on the back, and I'm surprised that it didn't make it. Do you have a picture of that? With the application. We can actually show the board the truck. It's an F-350 full bed refrigeration unit. So all of the food that's transported from the trailer back to the lobster trap each night travels in this refrigerated truck. And all of the food that similarly is going to be prepared and sold at the brewery during the day is brought from the lobster trap in the morning in this refrigerated truck. So one of the bases for sub B12 on the Code of Mass Regulations is to make sure that the transportation or that the food is adequately refrigerated and handled from the kitchen where it is kept and prepared to the truck that goes out and delivers it. Well, what we have here is the food is carried in the separate refrigerated F-350, which my client's pulling up a picture on his phone, and that is what's bringing it to the trailer where it's cooked and sold at the brewery. So it's not as though we have cooked hot dogs put into packages, put into a food truck from the location where they're cooked, and then the truck goes out and sells hot dogs on a route. Here we have food products from the lobster trap, walk-in coolers, put into the refrigerated unit, transported out to the trailer. The trailer is where they prepare the food and sell it per order. The other aspect of sub B12 is that they want to be able to have the truck adequately serviced. Weekly, this vehicle does get towed back to the lobster trap for what's called the deep clean. And that's an industry used and accepted standard beyond what a simple cleaning of the kitchen would be periodically, whether it's monthly or quarterly. We often see it seasonally where our local restaurants will shut down, shut the entire kitchen, and do a deep clean. That's done weekly at the lobster trap by the applicant. The trailer is actually connected to the tow vehicle, brought down, and the deep clean is given to it each week.
Could I
That
just
was-
excuse,
Yes,
how
sir.
often is a deep clean done in a restaurant?
I don't know. Perhaps Mr. Santa Maria could comment to that. I don't know that it's mandated in the food code, but there is a certain.
Exactly. The deep clean is not mandated in the code, but we do see them usually done around quarterly, where everything is removed from the walls, if it's able to be removed from the
Right.
walls. People do a full clean in the back, degreasing, whole 9 yards, and then they have to do a hood check once every year, every
For the
2
grease.
times every year.
For the grease hoods.
Hmm.
Okay.
So what my applicant is asking the board to consider favorably is that he does this weekly. And so the underlying theory, again, under sub B12, to have the mobile truck go back daily to the location where the food is prepared so that it can be whether offloaded, uploaded, or cleaned, that the cleaning is done on the trailer every day. And the deep cleaning is done weekly, more so than what we would see in the regular restaurant world or in the industry. Those are the bases, really, as far as I can take a look at all of the language in the food code and the CMR, and it really talks about just those 2 aspects of why they would want the truck to return back to the licensed kitchen each day. We're asking that it be required, or that the board grants a variance to require that this trailer be brought back to the licensed food kitchen weekly. And another aspect of it, while it has really very little to do with preparation of food or any of the concerns that the food code or the CMR has, is the practical transportation issues of a 20-foot long a mobile food trailer connected to a 20-foot long truck. This is 40 some odd feet of vehicle trying to maneuver through Nantucket during the summer. The lobster trap, as we all know, or as you can take notice of, is located in the downtown area. It's a practical difficulty for the applicant to do this. However, with the 30 gallons of gray water capacity, which is not ever unloaded at the Cisco Brewery, and I know the health department's had issues out there with respect to how they're handling their brewers' waste. That capacity was increased with this new vehicle, and that's offloaded at the lobster trap weekly. They've never had an issue that they've generated more than 30 gallons of gray water. And again, this is not with respect to the community. This is with respect to food prep and washing and food handling that would be generating this gray water. So they would have the gray water pumped out weekly. They would have the mobile unit deep cleaned weekly, and the food is transported in a refrigerated unit daily. All of the issues that the food code and the CMR have concern and why B12 is in place. So I would submit that it would be warranted, since a variance is certainly contemplated and allowed under the food code, so long as we make the showing to the board that the issues that the food code has for the requirement are met by the alternatives. I think the board's in a good position to grant the variance in this case.
Could I see the pictures?
I would hope so, yes.
The transportation truck as well, we have inspected. That is,
So
It's
it's
a-
a refrigerated.
it is a refrigerated
So
transportation truck.
essentially, that's the transportation truck?
That's what brings. That's the vehicle that's stocked
Right.
daily in the morning with all the foodstuffs, and all of it's removed from the trailer daily in the evening when the brewery shuts down at 7 after they've cleaned.
So the trailer
Goes
is
back.
essentially a temporary restaurant of sorts.
Yeah, it's
Temporary
a
building.
kitchen. It's a kitchen, but it's not a food
And it's cleaned
storage
once a week.
facility.
Deep cleaned,
No.
deep cleaned once a week.
Deep cleaned weekly. And we would certainly accept as a condition of the variance, if the board were so inclined, the proviso that it must be removed weekly, that the health department can verify that this weekly deep cleaning has taken place and is taking place, and inspect whatever maintenance records that would be required to be kept to verify the weekly cleaning. And I know that the health department's also viewed the transportation of the foodstuffs in the adequately refrigerated unit.
Are there questions from the board?
I have a question. You take it back once a week for deep cleaning, so are you stating that you don't clean it at the end of every day? where
Oh,
it says-
absolutely not. It is cleaned at the end of every day. The brewery shuts down at 7. These food trucks are cleaned up after all the patrons have been served. It's the deep clean that happens once a week. And that's also necessary because they've got to bring the trailer off-site to unload the gray water because of the restriction with the septic out there and their brewer's waste.
Steve, questions?
And this is an individual person asking for the variance, but what's going to stop somebody else from having a trailer and coming into the same thing?
People can. Every person is entitled to a request of variance.
Yeah.
I would say, Mr. Chairman, to address Mr. Visco's question, the food code does specifically provide for the variance because it recognizes that its applicability is not necessary in every instance. And while you may have a smaller food truck that is handing out ice cream or hot dogs, that is more adept to going back to the location where the food is prepared and stored versus the trailer of this size. So there's a practical consideration about how do you disconnect the gas, disconnect everything that you have out there daily to bring it down to the lobster trap. Certainly something that if the board were inclined to revisit in the fall to make sure that the summer season, which is the busiest season, has gone through event-free, as the past 2 seasons have, we would be welcome to that as well, to verify that what my clients represent to the board is actually going to be in place in the field.
Is there anyone else in the audience speaking on this issue? Other comments from the board?
I think Hank has
Hank Ross from the Health Department. My only question would be that 30 gallons of gray water doesn't seem like a very much capacity to have cleaning every day in that regard. That's a very limited amount of water to clean a large facility that you're cooking in every day. That would be my only concern. And certainly you open the door for everyone to request the same thing, to not take them off-site for a week during a very busy season of the year. There's a tremendous amount of food that's produced during that week. So that would be my only concern.
Okay.
Thank you.
You have any comments, Roberto?
Just echoing the same with Hank. 30 gallons is relatively limited to clean out a kitchen. However, if the methodology of cleaning were to be explained a little bit deeper, it might answer those questions for us.
Thank you, Mr. Santa Maria. Mr. Chairman, certainly the methodology for cleaning doesn't mandate water for every surface. The hot water is used for food handlers, cleaning of hands. Spray chemicals are used for the cleaning of stainless steel flat surfaces, which is warranted. And certainly combination of water and bleach is a very small amount of liquid that can be used to completely sanitize. So the 30 gallons, while this gentleman may say is not enough to do a full cleaning of the interior of a trailer, not suggesting that water is used to clean the full interior of a 20-foot trailer, but it is adequately cleaned, and my clients stand by their record for the past 2 seasons that they've been operating, and also without having ever had to discharge any gray water out at the brewery. So again, we have alternative cleaning methods that would not generate gray water that would be better than boiling water, a bleach water combination.
Bleach water and quaternary ammonium are the standard.
Right. And the food is actually transported in a refrigerated truck.
Absolutely it is.
I mean, I'm comfortable with the provision that it is deep cleaned once a week. The gray water is appropriately discharged.
Off-site.
We have some issues,
No,
past issues out there.
Yeah.
So,
No, off-site entirely for the gray water discharge.
I'm comfortable with that,
Thank you.
and it's with the appropriate follow-up by the health department and a report in September.
We will.
I don't know, anybody disagree with that, or?
No, I think I'm okay with that.
I'm all right with that.
So I need a motion to grant the variance with the provisions that the trailer's brought back once a week for deep cleaning. The gray water's appropriately handled. And I'm sure Hank and Roberto will follow up on this through the summer. and we want to report on the whole process in September. I need a motion for that.
I just
Yeah, go
have
ahead.
one more question. Roberta, does that facility get inspected before the season starts?
The mobile food,
Yeah.
yes, they're always
Yes.
inspected before the
Okay,
season
they're-
starts.
So they're only inspected once for the season?
No, they're inspected randomly throughout the year, but they are definitely inspected as an overall comprehensive inspection before operation begins.
Okay.
And
So
then
I mean-
Kathy and I did the inspection of the main facility in December, I believe.
Okay.
And I would assume that with this variance, the health department might have more than one random
Mm-hmm.
inspection out there in the
Yes.
summer.
Okay.
That would be welcome.
Because it is a variance, and we're always uncomfortable in some ways giving them, so we would have to follow up closely.
Mhm.
I think that's appropriate.
So I still need a motion as
So we would have that written in the variance, random inspections?
random
Ra-
inspections.
random
once-
inspections are
once a-
standard
once a-
practice.
The once a week of the trailer, all we
Okay.
discussed.
Mhm.
So I need a motion for approval.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor of granting the motion, or variance as stated, say aye.
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 Chairman votes aye.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Variance is granted with the provisions we outlined.
Thank you, Mr. Board of Health.
You'll also get just so you know, you'll also get a decision letter in the mail. We'll be able to send that to you outlining what the variance and the motion was.
Thank you very much.
Where are we here?
Nobody or farm.
Nobodere, 20 Nobodere Farm Road.
And is Mr. Fedorov in? Doesn't seem like Mr. Fedorov is here. This is the same appeal that was on the agenda last month. Mr. Fedorov did ask us to table it till this month. Chose not to be here. This is a home that had people living in an unheated, unfinished garage. Multiple beds in the garage as well. And according to the zoning enforcement officer, these properties are only allowed to have 2 bedrooms per unit. And at the time of the inspection, there were the 2 bedrooms, plus an office upstairs that had bunk beds. There were beds in the garages, and even then, the garages. The zoning officer is not even sure that the garages count towards their parking requirement either. So there's multiple violations in this location. Mr. Fedorov, the owner of 20 Nobodere, is asking that he be allowed to store all of those mattresses in his garage located on the site of 20 Nobodere Farm. And I recommend that we make a decision now because we have already put it off for an extra month.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't. We said, and if I recall, we held off on the decision of the mattresses pending.
Pending an inspection,
Pending-
and to our knowledge, it's still there. The mattresses are still there, and the place has not been re-let so far, to our knowledge. But there has already been a request of finishing and making that livable space, which is up to the zoning officer and the
It's
building.
up to the zoning office.
But the intent is to re-let from
Well, they have the right to relet if they follow the rules.
if they follow the rules, yes. So he is asking to be able to, that we lift this requirement of the storage of the mattresses for the enforcement order that we sent them.
No, wait,
At the time of the inspection, we condemned those.
right, and we said at this meeting we would approve
We would either approve or deny
the right to leave the mattresses.
his leaving the mattresses in the garage there.
Right. I'm a little slow, so I remember this
No
very well
worries.
now. Any comments from the board?
Yeah, I'll wait till I make a motion. I'll make a motion.
I think he should have to move.
I would like to make a motion if I could. I make a motion that we ask him to remove the mattresses from that area until he has permission from the zoning officer and the HTC to give him permission to make it into livable spaces. And at that time, we'll let him move the things back in. if it's feasible.
I like the sound of that motion. So the motion has been made as stated. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Chairman says aye. And the motion is carried. Oops. As stated.
Okay.
Did you get all that?
I think so.
Okay.
Okay.
I have recorders, don't check.
74,
Arkansas.
Arkansas.
Yes, so 74 Arkansas is requesting two different variances. They're going to be installing the system, a septic system, a compliant septic system based on the ACO as well, or the betterment loan that we gave 2 months ago. They need some setbacks from the property line. This is a condo unit, and they're really close to a well, a potable well. So they're asking for a reduction from the setback to the potable well. And this is an IA.
It is an IA.
Yes.
Yeah. And the distance is?
They're requesting that it goes from 150 feet to 82 feet, so a little bit less than half.
Well, 150 is the standard in
Mhm.
Nantucket, but 100 feet everywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's hard to meet 150 feet anywhere in Nantucket.
Mm-hmm.
it's an IA
And
system.
it's an IA. It's very hard to squeeze these systems in the way the parcels are with those condo units.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Any other comments, questions? Do I hear a motion for or against the variance, please?
Motion for the variance.
Second?
I'll second.
Further discussion? All in favor of granting the variance for 74 Arkansas, say aye.
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 Chairman says aye, variance is approved.
Okay.
Camp toilet regulation.
So we're going to have this one, and then there's going to be another one next month that they recently applied this week. This is for Exploration Station, and I don't remember the name of the next camp for next month. They have less than 20 people in their camp. The state requires them to have two toilets per sex in their camp. In this case and the next case, they're all the same sex. There's less than 20 girls, and at the same time, they're also going to be elsewhere on the island halftime of the day. So they're asking to bring that requirement of two toilets down to one for this camp.
Will they ever accept males?
Not to my knowledge.
Not to
That's not the
knowledge.
intent.
Okay, any questions?
None.
Discussion? Do I hear a request to approve or deny the variance for the camp toilet regulation for Exploration Station?
I'm fine with approving
I'm
the
fine. I make
variance.
a motion that we accept.
Hear a second? Steve, you
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Chairman votes aye. Variance is granted. 50 Brewster Road, variance for regulation 64.
Yes. So with 60 Brewster Road, so there's multifacets on this one. 50 Brewster Road, 10 Kelly Road, and 4 Moores End Lane on one end. They are asking that because they are now in this future sewer district that they don't have to put in an IA. That makes sense. And then also, I believe 50 Brewster Road is requesting that they do not do their inspection, I believe, their 5-year requirement of inspection. And I believe...
Yeah, but there's the main dwelling on 50 Brewster had a hydraulic failure. The cottage was okay. So
Okay,
they had two
that's right.
separate systems there.
That is right.
So I think what they're looking to do is, reading this, they said they plan on not using that house this year.
The one
Well,
with
the
failed
one
system.
that's failed,
Okay.
and they didn't turn. They're saying they didn't turn the water on, and they
Do we have been ensuring they don't use that?
well, that's tough.
That's my concern.
Right, and how do you
So, in my opinion with this is, yes, they have the one hydraulic failure, and if they're not going to be using it, that's good. That's all well and done that they say it. We have no way of proving that they're not going to be using it, which is the problem. But in the event that we do require them to repair the system, I don't believe we should require them to put in an IA,
Absolutely not. Not when they're going to.
because they're going to get sewer within the next 2 years.
The only other way you could think maybe that they wouldn't use the house if you got something from the electric company that they pulled the meter. There's no power, no utilities to the house.
And you stipulate it in writing in the variance.
You'd have to. Yeah. I mean, does it make sense to make a temporary repair when they're slated to have sewer within the next 2.5 years when they start the work? I don't know.
I mean, obviously.
They have the property for sale, but who knows when it's going to sell?
Well, the question is then, what if they don't get sewer next year either?
Well, they won't get it next year.
So
Yeah.
the year after that?
Yeah.
So
In-
they're going to be hampered, so by not using, they won't be able to use that building again until they connect to the sewer.
Right.
Are they aware of that?
Well, they're aware that they're never going to be able to use it until either the system is repaired, because it's backing up. They just can't use it.
Right, but I'm comfortable granting the variance if we can find some way to ensure that.
Yeah, they would have to. I like the
structure
suggestion.
itself is not used.
Can we have it pumped out, disconnected?
Well, it's like when you move a house, you can't move it until all the utilities are connected.
No, but can we physically have the connection to the septic system?
Well, that's what I mean. Usually you have to get it signed off. Plumb inspector has to see that the pipe was cut off and capped, all that.
Right.
We could go through that process.
Well, I think we should, because we don't know if it's going to be 1 year, 2 years, or 3
Right,
years.
that the gas is disconnected, everything.
The only issue I see with that is if they do cut and cap the septic system, in the event that they do sell the house, it has to have a functioning septic system.
Well, then they're
So
gonna
they
have
would have to
then they'll have to
reconnect and
replace or repair
replace, and it
That
makes
would
it
be-
more expensive.
Well, that would be on the onus of the new
Yep.
owner.
Absolutely. And just, we'll tie the variance into making sure that building is disabled until the sewer is hooked up.
So if it was sold, then it couldn't be sold unless
Then the system gets
the
replaced
system gets replaced, and that would be a negotiation between the buyer and
between
the seller.
them. Yes.
The house is going to be torn down. It's old and debilitated.
Fine, well, let's make sure then, I like the idea of granting the variance, but including the fact that the house that has the failed system, the system is disabled, however you do it.
Without a functioning sewer system, they would no longer meet. Right now, they don't meet the housing code, so we would technically have to condemn the home.
Is there another way to do that?
We can. It's not we don't necessarily have to use the word condemnation. We can say that it is unfit for habitation until said time that the sewer system is back up and running, whether it's connected through sewer or septic.
And they're all right with that anyway, because they said they weren't going to use the property, right?
Yeah. They have another house.
And
So-
if it was
so-
going to be sold, that would show up, the variance would show up.
Yeah, I would ask that you ask them to put that on the deed, because
It
if
should be in the deed.
yeah, they have to record that. They would have to record that house has their septic system disconnected, because or else somebody can buy the house without the knowledge and try to use the restroom to an interesting
So-
situation.
I think what we're forming here, we'll need a motion to approve the variance, at least for the other structure, and that the septic system be disabled of the house, and that be recorded on the deed.
Right.
I would
Okay?
be okay with that.
Do I hear a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Chairman says aye, so the variance is granted for the other structure. For this structure, the septic system must be shut down. However, one does that, and this needs to be recorded on the deed.
And I will get that to them via mail, decision letter from the board. Okay. Next, 10 Kelly Road.
10 Kelly Road. Is 10 Kelly Road and 4 Moore's End essentially the same?
They're essentially exactly the same.
We'll take them together?
I would recommend so, yes.
So we're going to discuss item 10 and 11, 10 Kelly Road and 4 Moore's End Road, asking for variance from the IA requirement of Regulation 64.
Both of these homes are requesting that they maintain a Title V connected system and to enter the ACO until said time that the sewer is connected.
Right.
And they're both
In a nutshell.
inspected, and they're both fine?
Yep.
Okay.
For Moore's End is actually going to be new construction. They're building the house right now. What he's asking is to put in a regular septic system until the sewer is connected.
Going to be a short-lived septic system.
Unfortunately, that's the way it runs.
Can I just make a comment here?
Please, maybe we should take them separately because they are different.
Let's do them separately.
Let's do them because they're different.
Okay.
10 Kelly, let's do 10 Kelly.
10 Kelly, which I did the inspection on, and the system was fine, met the separation. It's not that old, and if the ACO is really just for a needs area. Shimo Pond, Kelly Road, those aren't a needs area anymore since we just slated them to be sewered. So you're basically exempting them now to use that system that was fine until they get sewered. So ACO is for places that aren't going to get sewer and maybe down in the future. So why should they have to sign into the ACO and start escrowing money when most of these...
Right, when their system is functioning and they're going to get sewer,
fine.
so why should they go through an ACO?
Right.
You're right. You're right.
Either way,
So I don't think that...
they'll be required to connect when it comes in anyway.
Yes.
So either way,
So what do they want the waiver for if the system's functioning?
I don't know if they're trying to sell it or
since
I-
town meeting.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think this was in before that happened.
Mhm.
Four Moore's End is that's a little different.
Well,
Yeah,
I don't think we
well-
have to act on 10 Kelly Road. They have a functioning system, and they're going to get sewer.
Which will...
And-
If their system fails between now and sewer, then we'd have to
Well, that's a
address
different
that.
story.
Well,
Yeah.
let me ask one question. Now, if we're going to tell them that they don't have to change and they don't have to have any inspections, what if they sell the property?
It'd be the same thing.
They sell it just the way it is?
Right.
And then,
And
okay,
then the
so...
sewer's coming anyway, so it's the new owners are
Right, so
required.
the only reason I'm saying that is because we had someone up in North Pasture Lane, we made the...
But that's not in the sewer district,
Yeah.
North Pasture.
Oh, that's
It's not
right,
in the sewer
okay.
district.
All right, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay,
See,
no,
I
so
thought-
that's fine,
Yeah.
that's fine.
I thought passing the sewers would make it easier for us.
Yeah.
No, that's what number 15 is for.
15, we'll discuss all this again, but...
Okay,
I mean,
so
really,
10 Kelly Road, it's the opinion of the board that no action needs to be taken, and you can let them know that. If their system fails between now and sewer, then they'll
Right.
deal with that however they have to deal with it. 4 Moore's End,
Yeah, for Moore's End, you may remember, I believe it was
I
November,
remember this.
Mr. Houghton was here. We were requiring him to put in an IA.
Yes.
But since then, sewer was voted in his location. The septic system has not been built yet.
Yes.
So he is requesting that when he does put in a septic system, that it is a Title V, regular Title V. And he is just in time. If Mr. Houghton, if you would like to speak to this. It's
Go right ahead. Come on up. Come on down. Just identify
Sorry about
yourself.
that. I was coaching my daughter's team. So, we applied for a traditional. We had a septic system permitted already in 2015, and when the regulations changed, we then went through the process of designing a new system that was an IA. We're in construction. We're looking to be moved in September. We've backfilled. They're ready to put one in. Obviously, what happened with the town vote, sewer's coming. I understand Shimo's the priority line. It's going to be the first one in. And I was hoping to put in the traditional system and use it for 2 years, whatever the time is, enter into an ACO, and abandon it, decommission it, connect to the sewer at the earliest opportunity.
That sounds reasonable to me. I mean, it would be silly.
Right, so you have no problem when the sewer comes to take that?
Absolutely, and I'll agree to sign whatever.
It's mandatory.
Yes, he has to do that. So I'm hearing a consensus. We have no problem.
The only
this
question
way.
I have is the same thing with 10 Kelly Road. Does he need to? Do you need to enter the ACO?
I don't think so. Because he's in the sewer district now. It's not just a future needs area. It's for the people.
Right, he
that-
doesn't need an ace, but we have to.
We do have to vote on the.
We have to rescind our past decision,
Mhm.
essentially.
Correct.
In other words, we have to vote that he does not have to put in an IA system and doesn't need an ACO.
I don't. Yeah.
He doesn't need it. All right, so what I need is a motion to rescind
The
our
previous vote.
our previous order that for Moore's End Road put in an IA system. I need a motion for that.
Motion to rescind.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chairman votes aye, so you do not have to put in an IA system.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right.
Massachusetts Avenue, tight tank.
Same concept. Tight tank over Millie's Bridge. Tight tank location.
It's an easy one. You don't have, anyone want to discuss what
It's not a new dwelling range, right?
No.
Okay.
it's, all right, so I need a motion to approve the tight tank.
I make a motion to approve it.
Second.
Any further discussion?
Nope.
All in favor of the tight tank, approving the tight tank for 20 Massachusetts, say aye.
Aye.
Chairman says aye. Tight tank's approved. ACO request 51 Tennessee Avenue.
Same concept. Failed system. Looking to get a. It was actually a betterment, not a ACO. Sorry. Looking to get the money to repair the system to make fully compliant.
Any comments?
No need the signatures.
Any questions?
What is, excuse me, he wants to do what?
Mr.
Let's repair a
Jennison is
system.
looking to repair his system to make it fully compliant.
So
In Nantucket.
It's
In-
failed?
Yes.
Okay, I need a motion to approve or deny the ACO request for 51 Tennessee.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor of the ACO request for 51 Tennessee, say aye.
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 Chairman says aye. ACO request is approved.
Okay.
Discussion to allow Health Department to permit tight tanks over Millie's Bridge in office. You
Yes.
want to put a tight tank in the office?
Yes, exactly. Just to have it on display.
Agree with that, right?
No, that is true. One of the things we're asking is every single time that there's a tight tank that comes in, it has to come to the board. Just like this last one, it's basic concept. We already have the regulation in
We
place.
have the regulation, we approve
So-
it, we're in support of it. I don't see any reason why we need to, it
Approve.
delays people's time.
Exactly. It would make people wait an extra month until the next Board of Health meeting.
So I need a motion for the approval of the Health Department to make decisions on tight tanks across Millie's Bridge without consulting the board.
Only if they're failed.
Correct.
No new construction.
No new construction can be allowed.
Which is silly, but
All right, so the motion is that failed systems across Millie's Bridge, they require tight tanks, that decision can be made by the Health Department without consulting the board. Do I hear a motion to that?
Motion for that approval.
second.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Chairman says aye. It's all yours, Roberto.
Okay. And
Shimo Pond Monomoy Regulation 64 discussion.
same concept. Since town meeting, we've approved the Shimo Pond Sewer District. So what we're asking is that in the event that there's construction, transfer of property, system failures, things like that, that they would not be required to put in the IA, that they can just bring it up to basic Title V.
As long as it's functioning.
As long as it's functioning to Title V standards, correct.
I have no objection to that.
And
I just have one question, and it's probably not for this board, it's probably like more of a real estate question, that in the event of a sale,
Mm-hmm.
that it's in the agreement for the sale that the new owner understands that he will have to tie into the sewer.
Yeah, that's between the
Okay,
the lawyers.
Well, yeah, that's under Regulation 69, as soon
Okay.
as the sewer's
all right.
in front of the house. The only other thing I would bring up is, in that Shimo Pond area and the harbor watershed, is some of those systems had, a technical failure, less than a 6-foot separation to groundwater. I think personally it should be status quo and leave those the same too, instead of making them repair. Because we did send letters out months ago asking, before the sewer got approved, asking the people to repair their septics. There are a few hydraulically failed ones in that area too. And what I would probably suggest with that is that they have to come in. The hydraulically failed ones, it's a long time coming, and these ones failed a long time ago. Nothing's happened. That they should have to come in with a temporary repair plan.
So your request.
So when the systems are hydraulically failed, they have to fix it.
Yes.
Period. They do have to fix it. So what we're asking is that when they do come in to pull their permits or things like that, that they don't have to put in an IA, considering they're going to be getting sewer.
Now, after getting a sewer, that's silly.
Yeah, because right now, every single time they request that they don't have to put in an IA, they would have to request a variance every time.
Well, that takes a lot of your time and our time,
Exactly, and their
and
time.
lawyers'
And
times and people's times. So.
exactly, it's more than just the $20 variance request.
I don't hear anyone on the board objecting to that.
Right.
So how are you going to handle that? You're going to...
Just like we do with every application for septic systems now, whenever they apply, we always check no matter what zones they're in. We always look. So now, if they're within that sewer district, they will just have to repair it up to Title
They won't have to get an IA
V.
system unless there's failure or something.
Yeah, there's extra things,
Okay.
the extenuating circumstances, and
So
then
we should vote and make that a board policy.
okay.
So it's a policy that. So I need a motion that for the Shimo Monomoy system, given the fact that they will be sewered, we will not require IA systems to be put in place as stated in 64, providing they're not failures or some other situation that in the opinion of the health director needs to be brought to the board. How's that sound?
And then it really should include Nantucket Harbor watershed, which doesn't just include Shimo. There's the plus areas that are
That's what I was
slated to
going
be
to say.
sewered with that.
So let's amend that motion to
Yep.
those areas that have now
That's-
approved sewer.
Mhm.
If they, as stated above, if they're required by 64 to put in an IA system, they do not have to do that unless, in the opinion of the health director, there are some circumstances that require bringing that to the board for full discussion.
Thank you for catching that. Actually,
Does that sound like a motion?
That's fine.
Will someone make that, please?
Motion to make that approval.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Chairman votes aye. So we will we'll use Roberto's judgment as to that. And if it's just a straight, simple case and nothing has failed, then
exactly.
and that would be really a burden on the community to do that.
Okay.
Director's report.
All right.
It's a long agenda, but we went fast.
It goes nice and quick. I like it. First step on the director's report is we're happy to say that Hank Ross is here, our seasonal.
Welcome back.
So we're really happy to have the help. He's going to be helping a lot with the fertilizer outreach, education, and inspections. So already we've been feeling the difference. So thanks, Hank.
I wrote a letter about fertilizer. They didn't put that in, but
Yeah, it hasn't
they put
been in.
leaves today.
Oh, they did put in leaves today.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
Interesting.
mine was a little more dramatic, so I scared them away.
We can put it on a Facebook page.
Yeah,
I can
it's
tweet it
okay.
out. The next step on it is the good news is the intern our intern that was slated to be here has found housing. She will be starting June 1st and leaving July 31st. So that would be a whole 8 weeks. We will be able to have her this whole summer. I'll be looking to putting her in through water quality testing, inspections. She'll be going out with some of the natural resources people, doing some of the fertilizer work, some of the harbor quality, water quality work, hummock pond quality, things like that. Right now I've sent a message out to UMass to see if they can get her out into the field station for a day or two just to see how it is there, so I haven't heard the response. And then if things go well, we'll be able to have a lot of the outreach and education work, things like Lyme disease, mosquitoes, things like that we can have her help on. There's a lot of outreach that needs to be done that, frankly, the department has kind of missed over the past few years, and she can help get us into this 21st century type of
And
outreach.
she's an environmental science student?
Yes, she's an environmental health student at the University of Georgia School of Public Health. She's doing her undergraduate
She's
there.
an undergrad.
Yeah, she's going to get a bachelor's in science in public health.
That's great.
So I'm looking forward to having her.
Well, bring her to the July meeting.
Absolutely.
So we can all. And she's not going to focus so much as the past on disease or countings. And
We'll still have her do a lot of the disease work, the illness work, but the hospital
He's
is
doing okay.
exactly. Mr. Tidd does forward me counts. Right now, some of the counts are a little low, so I can't disclose them yet
No.
without breaking HIPAA. But we do have some illnesses of concern that are out, and in no particular order. We have had we've had some West Nile, we've had
Really?
some Zika as well, but trying to get some of that information out. That the Zika information that people are hearing is they're imported cases. There are people who have vacationed outside of the United States and had come back already sick. So that's very important to get out there.
Maybe at the May meeting you can kind of summarize officially for us where we are in
Will do.
these various diseases. And
Yeah, it's just with some of the counts, they're still a little low so I don't want to break the HIPAA laws. We've held our first meeting of the Fertilizer Advisory Committee. We have a 7-member committee now. Or if you remember, just right before town meeting, we had only 4 people sign up. We're now up to 7. 7 people signed up and showed up to the meeting. All of them very well versed, including but not limited to a member from the Land Council, a couple fertilizer applicators, and landscape company owners, and a subject matter expert who was also. Some of them were already on the Article 68 working group as well. So we're a very robust group. We'll be working on educational goals and defining enforcement goals. So we have already started some of the enforcement, and the word is getting out that we are checking. So it's. I spoke to Mr. Carlson today, and he did mention to me that as soon as he walked up to one of the crews that was fertilizing, they had their licenses ready, and they immediately stopped what they were doing and showed. So. The word is getting out. We did already issue 2 tickets, I believe, today. And we're only in the first week of the season. And then lastly, the Mosquito Control Commission, their next meeting is next week. And I've been sitting in on those meetings as well as a staff member. And we are moving forward with printing the Spanish brochure as well as the brochure in English, 1,000 copies in English and 500 copies in Spanish. The DPW director is working on getting it translated into Portuguese as well, so that we can hit as many groups as we can. So we're moving forward. And then we are also, and one last thing as far as the electric vehicle goes, it's going very well. We've had it since February, and we still have not had to refill the tank.
That's great.
It is still above half a tank. So it's been really great. And then that's it.
Any questions?
Nope, I'm all set.
And Mosquito, I mean, Helene is at the birth of a granddaughter, so she has an excuse, but she says Mosquito Commission's going pretty well.
It's going well.
I know the brochures were pretty good.
Yeah, the brochures sound really good. The town manager has asked that we do set up a dedicated website as well for outreach. There are some questions regarding specific illnesses. So I'll be working on that and getting that information ready so that we can put that on the website as well.
Okay. Any questions for Roberto? Any other issues? Hearing none? If I have no objections, the meeting will be adjourned.
Okay.
So be it.
Thank you. Steve, can you pass these over to Malcolm? I just need him.
Can I borrow your pen, sir?
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't realize that 50 boosters really changed what they were asking for. 50 boosters. I didn't know what they were changing, and what they wrote is not what they told us in the office, or what they told you. So it totally caught me off guard. But there's a letter was just sent out saying that in the event that the system, in the event that they have symptoms of a failure, they'll have to have their inspection, but until sewer is.
Art has a list of all the things that are there that had issues.
Exactly.
So I'm just going to let some white lines know that it's your